Imagine a country where millions of people suffer silently, their mental health struggles hidden in the shadows, simply because they lack the diagnosis they desperately need. As a nation of over 330 million people, it is crucial to shed light on the staggering number of individuals left undiagnosed with mental illness. In the absence of accessible mental health resources, self-diagnosis becomes a crucial means for individuals to take initiative in identifying and understanding their own mental health conditions without fear of stigma. As someone who's relied on self-diagnosis in my past, I bring a unique perspective on the vital role of self-diagnosis in our society. Today, we will focus on 3 reasons as to why I believe that mental health self-diagnosis is valid. First, we'll touch on how limited access to healthcare and insurance prevents many Americans from seeking a professional mental health diagnosis. Secondly, the lack of ongoing re-education for mental health professionals can result in years of misdiagnoses. Finally, the fear of social perception and possible recourse can discourage individuals from seeking a professional diagnosis. Now that you have an idea of what to expect today, let's begin with our first point. Lack of affordable mental health resources frequently makes it difficult for individuals to obtain a professional diagnosis, rendering it inaccessible for many. With over 41 million people living in poverty, myself included, high poverty rates contribute to the inaccessibility of affordable mental health resources. While some individuals may qualify for state Medicaid, the limited treatment options available under Medicaid leave them with few options for accessing professional mental health care. As someone with a major dissociative disorder, I have found it hard to find qualified individuals for my care who also understand my condition. Medicaid will not cover more than the traditional therapies despite my diagnosis. The high costs associated with mental health services create significant financial barriers. On average, therapy costs $125 per hour, while psychiatrists cost $200 per hour, and medications can cost up to several $100s per month. Additionally, comprehensive psychological evaluations can cost up to $3,000 per person. These steep expenses on average cost $11,000 per year. The already high costs associated with mental illness are often prolonged by years of misdiagnosis, which brings me to my next point. Insufficient re-education requirements for professionals contribute to misinformation and increase the risk of misdiagnoses, prompting individuals to rely on self-reflection to seek the appropriate diagnosis. Despite mental health professionals attending up to 8 years of college, the lack of consistent re-education requirements creates an environment where misinformation thrives and misdiagnoses become more likely. This gap in ongoing re-education can keep individuals from receiving a proper diagnosis. I underwent multiple diagnoses before finally being diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder at 29. The treatment plan for DID differs significantly from that of borderline personality disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. The symptoms of DID can often be exacerbated by the treatment plans for BPD and PTSD. The concern that misinformation is heightened amongst older mental health professionals has led to the increase of self-diagnosis as a preliminary step before seeking professional evaluation. Individuals feel the need to advocate for themselves and their lived experiences. I have found myself needing to talk my mental health professional into believing my DID diagnosis due to the common misconception that DID is extremely rare. Many try to avoid the financial burden of misdiagnoses, prolonged care, and unnecessary tests by focusing on introspection and self-reflection to understand their own mental health. Introspection is often used for other reasons as well. Stigma surrounding mental health remains prevalent in our society, which leads individuals to fear judgment, discrimination, and the potential negative consequences that may arise from disclosing their mental health conditions. This fear is particularly heightened in work environments, where disclosure of mental illness can carry the risk of professional setbacks, such as being overlooked for promotions and facing prejudice from colleagues. Additionally, the fear of losing custody of children due to misconceptions and biases surrounding mental health can further discourage individuals from seeking professional diagnosis, leading them to rely solely on self-diagnosis as a means of managing their mental health discreetly and independently. I have personally felt the impact that mental health stigma can cause in social settings. Unfortunately, DID is still highly stigmatized, with many associating it with the outdated term multiple personality disorder, and base their understanding from the horror movie Split. Some people have even suggested that what I'm going through is a result of demonic possession. These misconceptions and stereotypes have affected me profoundly, leading me to sever ties with family members and friends. Moreover, misconceptions of DID have been brought up in court custody proceedings, exacerbating an already difficult situation. Considering the fear of social perceptions and potential recourse that discourages individuals from seeking professional diagnosis, it becomes clear that self-diagnosis serves as a crucial means for individuals to proactively address their mental health. As you can see, a person may rely on self-diagnosis for many reasons: limited access to insurance and finances, lack of re-education for professionals, and the fear of social repercussions are just 3 of those reasons. In the absence of accessible mental health resources, self-diagnosis empowers individuals to take initiative in identifying and understanding their own mental health conditions, free from fear of stigma. Which is why, even if it may not directly impact us, embracing and accepting self-diagnosis with kindness and understanding can make a profound difference in the overall mental health journey.